Hello, Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. It's still me, your instructor for this BE 4163 Alternative Energy, Dr. Shaiman. So in this video, we are going to learn in the next chapter, which is standalone PV system. Okay, for me, this chapter is quite interesting and very easy to be understood. So I hope at the end of this video, you can really understand what is standalone PV system is all about, and hope you can try it in your home, in your place, whenever you have a chance. Okay, so without further ado, let's go. Okay, so the expected outcome for this chapter is, after of completing this module, you should be able to design simple PV standalone system. Okay, only simple PV standalone system. If you are going to go very complex, so you should refer in the internet or literatures to help in your study, right? Okay, standalone system, and the words also, the standalone system does not have a connection to the electricity and main grid, and does not have connection to the grid. That's why we call it standalone system, or in other words, we call it as off grid. Okay, off grid PV system is the same meaning for the standalone PV system. Okay, so standalone system vary in size from watches or calculators to remote buildings or spacecraft. We can start from the several milliwatts until the 1,000 megawatts or gigawatts. Okay, so if the load is to be supplied independently of installation, the generated power needs to be buffered with a battery. Okay, basically standalone PV system, you are generating energy directly from the sunlight to the PV module, and then you directly used for your load. But for example, if you have a system that needs you to use it during the night, that's why you need to preserve the energy generated through the day in certain devices. So that device we call as battery. So when you have the storage battery, then you can store the energy so that you can use during the night when the sunlight is not available, right? So basically, this very basic structure of the standalone PV system. So we have it's just a symbol for PV array. So in PV array is a combination of several PV modules. So this is the PV module. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 PV modules. So we have the PV modules that form the PV array. Okay, next we have the second system, we call it as balance of system. Balance of system is the thing that other than PV array, loads, and something like that. So here they also have inverter, all charge controller, distribution panel, or maybe you have the DB, okay, distribution board, and you have the fuse. So it's all about the balance system. So basically, the basic structure for the standalone system, they're going to have the battery banks, very important battery banks, because if you don't have the battery banks, there's nothing you can see during the night. So you will be totally dark, in the darkness during the night. That's why we need the battery to store the energy during the generation from the sunlight during the midday, and then use it during the night so that you can lighten the LED. Okay, so that you can do some work during the night. Okay, then we have the load. To basically load, we are going to separate it into two. So one is direct current load, which is directly pulled from the charge controller without any inverter. Okay, and the AC load is inverted. The DC here is inverted into AC. Then you're going to have the AC load. So basically, for Malaysia case, single phase around 230 volts, and the three phase is the 450 volt. So this is the AC load. Okay, right. So however, the standard system, they have the limitation. Okay, limitation in sizing. So what is that? So the weather record for the site may not be detailed enough to do an accurate calculation of the module output. So weather records. Okay, not all places have the data for solar irradiance, temperature, or maybe some humidity. For example, for Pahang case, for example, in Pekan, it's very difficult for us to get the data for the Pekan. We have the data for the Kuantan. Maybe they are set up the weather system in somewhere in Kuantan, but we don't have in Pekan. Okay, so it's very difficult if you go specifically to specific place. For example, if you are planning to install the PV system on top of the mountains. There's no one ever record any solar irradiance there. That's why it's very difficult for you to get the detailed data. However, in that case, usually they do the approximation to calculate, to estimate the yearly solar radiation. Okay, since the weather records are a summary of the past, they can only suggest what may happen in the future when the solar system is operating. So they call that as they can only may suggest what happened in the future. So because the data is not all in the places, the data is not available for all places. That's why at certain point they are doing the forecasting of solar radiance to suggest how much is the solar system can be generated, how much power through the solar system can be generated in the future. So they are doing the solar radiance forecasting study. Okay, it is difficult to predict accurately how much electricity will be used each day. This is most critical. So many researchers also proceed with the solar irradiance forecasting modeling. Okay, model. A lot of studies regarding this topic, solar irradiance forecasting model, because until now we cannot assume, we cannot accurately predict what will happen to the cloud tomorrow, what will happen to the sky tomorrow. Is it sunny? Is it rainy? Is it stormy? We don't know, and nobody knows. That's why it keeps become the difficulty in order to predict accurately how much electricity that can be used every day, right? So step to design standalone PV system. So basically, of course, first of all, calculation of the load energy demand. So first of all, you need to know how much energy that you're going to use. So how many appliances that you're going to use. So this is very critical. So first of all, you must know, for example, I want to use 4 LEDs, 4 refrigerators, for example. So you need to know exactly what is the size of your load energy demand. Okay, you cannot simply design small but you use more. It's not practical and it's not relevant. Okay, that's why you need to know your load energy demand. Then after you get that, then you have to determine the system voltage. I explain later in detail after this. So what is the system voltage? Alright, next is survey of solar resource and the selection of PV modules. So of course, you need to survey of solar resource even though the weather record is not there, but still you need to go study at least the nearest data. There must have a nearest data, even though maybe 40, 50, 60 kilometers far away. At least you have that data as the reference. Okay, and then selection of PV modules. Then after that, you choose the PV module. Then the third step is sizing and selection of the battery. Okay, then next is sizing and selection of inverter, charge controller, and other balance of system. Okay, it's basically the flow. Okay, basic flow. Alright, so this is an example. Okay, calculation of the load energy and determine the system voltage. So basically, like I told you, load assessment, the load type of load, usually we separate into two, AC load and DC load. If you plan to use both, then you are going to need a huge system, a big system to facilitate the necessities of your home or your place. Okay, then if you plan to use without the AC load, then for me it's very good if you can only use the DC load, because DC load is very energy saving. Okay, but the AC load, because we need the inverter. The inverter also, they have their own efficiency, so already the loss can be occurred there at the place. Okay, right. So the daily requirement for electricity, unit of consumption for electricity is A required daily, P appliances, and hour duration hours of use. Okay, so issues the expected daily use of appliances hours per day, and P appliance is power of appliance. So this must be watts. So this is in watt, and this is in, because hours, so hour. So that's why the units watt hour. Okay, it become watt hour per day. Right. Okay, for example, let's go with a very simple example for the load. Let's say I am going to use two type of load, which is the DC and the AC. Okay, first of all, I need to specify how much item, how many item that I going to use, how many LEDs there. For example, I'm going to use 4, okay, 4 type of LED or any lightings, which cost each 25 watt of power, okay, for each item, okay. So that's why the total power you multiply with 4, simply multiply with 4, then you get 100. So means that you're going to have 100 watts. Then time of use in the day, for example, you are going to use during the night from 8 to 11, for example. So that costs you around 3 hours. So means that 3 hours multiply 100 multiply with 3, then you get the 300 watt hours here, okay, for the type of DC. Okay, next, for example, you still even though you're going standalone, you still need the TV. I don't know why, but it's okay, just assume it. So you still need the TV and you still need to desktop to do your work, work from home. Okay, so you're going to use 1. So let's say for power per item is 100 and 100. So you're going to have the total of 100 still, because only one. But the time of use for the TV, you need to watch 2 hours. 1 hour about COVID news, and another one is for your FIFA. Okay, let's say. So 2 hours. Then your desktop, but you're going to do your work from home only 1 hour. Okay, so that's why the total is 200 plus 100. Then you get again 300 watt hours for the AC type. Okay, so here you have the 300 watt hours of DC power, DC energy, so the load demand, and 300 watt hours for the AC. Okay, so also in order to calculate the load energy demand, other than the exact watt hours that we just obtained in the previous slide, there's other things that you need to consider, which is the system losses. We call it as system losses, because there's 2 things here. So one is they call as general system efficiency. So the efficiency of cables, the battery, and the charge controller, this can be taken to be 80%, meaning 20% of the energy is lost. Okay, let's say you can assume, means all your system, the cable loss, the battery, the charge controller, maybe there's some dissipated power, we cannot clearly trace it, but we just assume it as 20% of energy is lost. Okay, let's say we assume as 20% of the energy is lost, or maybe 70 to 80%. Okay, means that the efficiency can be around 70 to 80 or 85. Okay, we just assume, because very difficult for us to clarify which part that cause 7% of the loss. Okay, you just assume at once. So 20% loss means 80% is the general system efficiency. So the next thing is the inverter efficiency. So inverter is only applied, this efficiency is only applied when you plan to use the AC. AC. Because the AC, they are going to invert the DC signal to the AC signal. So that inverter efficiency is totally depends on the brand, depends on the size. Okay. So a good inverter we design for use in standard PV system, for example, will be about 85%, sometimes 95%, sometimes 92%. But if the cheapest one usually sometimes can go until 50%, 60 to 70. Sometimes they don't declare how much is the inverter efficiency for that inverter. Okay, that's why it's very critical for you. If you plan to use the AC, you must use high efficient inverter in order to suppress the loss that comes from the system. Okay, that totally will degrade your output of your power. Okay, so basically calculation of the load energy and determine the system voltage. So it's very simple. Actually, there's a lot of method to design the standalone PV system, but in this video, in this subject, we are going to use the most simplest one. So the required daily. So the reverse energy required daily energy. So DC is the DC one. Okay, the DC, like before we have the 300 watt hour. All right. Then N system, like I told you before, the general system efficiency, which is this part. So that one depends now, maybe 70, 75, 80 or 85%. Okay. if you are doing the final exam or test, so it totally depends on the question. Usually we give you that kind of value. If the value is not given, then it's not sinful to assume 80%, 85% or 75%. But 80% is, for me, it's okay to assume just like that. Okay. Then the N, okay, this is the C. Then E required AC is the AC loads energy, same like before. Okay, in that previous example, here also 300 hour. Okay. Then the inverter efficiency totally depends on the question. If you have given 90% or 85% or 80%, then you follow, just follow the value, okay? And you put. Alright. So this example, the same example, we use the same example to proceed to the next, how much is the load energy demand. Okay. Like I mentioned before, we have 300 watt hour of DC load. Okay. Then we have another 300 watt hour of AC load. Okay. Then we are going to have inverter. So this is inverter. So let's say the inverter efficiency is 90%. Okay. So 90%. So means that here is 300 watt hour. What about the input of the inverter? How much is the watt hour necessary required? Okay. From here, so you just divide it into 0.9. Then you are going to have certain values. I didn't calculate it. Okay. But you just divide into the efficiency of the inverter. So this is the total energy that you need before the inverter. Okay. So before the inverter, you must need this kind of energy. Alright. Then for the DC load, because there is no inverter, nothing, so assume the cable also doesn't drop much. So we assume that the energy is still the same. So it's still the same here at this point before the charge controller. Okay, before the charge controller, DC part is 300 watt hour, but the AC part is 300 watt hour over 0.9. Okay, then we have the charge controller and the battery bank here. So let's say we assume the general system efficiency, including all the things. So we just bulk assumption as 85%. Okay, means that 85%. Okay, 85%. That's why. So 300 watt hour plus 300 watt hour over 0.9 divide with the 85%. So we just divide it into 85%. Then finally, the power that we actually need is, I mean, not power, the energy that we actually need is 745 watt hour per day. I hope my calculation is correct. Okay. We just solve these equations, solve these values. Then you're going to have 745 watt hour per day. So this is the real energy that you need in order to supply the 300 watt hour DC load and the 300 watt hour AC load. Okay, do you understand? Okay, here common mistake for the design, for the beginner or for the newbies. For the newbies, they only sometimes they think very lightly. They don't consider any general system efficiency and also inverter efficiency. They say they need the 600 watt hour of DC load and AC load total. So they just assume, okay, I just need the PV module that can supply me only 600 watt hour. This is the common mistake. Okay, they think, okay, 600 watt hour, then of course we are going to have 600 watt hour, so no problem. Actually, it's very wrong. If you see here, we need more energy in order to supply 600 watt hour. In other words, means we have lost from here to here. Okay, we have lost already 145 watt hour as a loss. Okay, we lost already 145 watt hour. You cannot use 600 as 600. If you think 600 here probably becomes 550 or something like that. Okay, 450 or 475. It will drop. So at the end, when you put your installation, you put you may do a very proper installation, electrical wirings, everything, the system, your lighting and your LED is properly installed, and the DB, everything is okay. But suddenly you don't suddenly you don't know what is the reason, you don't know why the system, for example, the battery dies very early. We don't know why, because you just assume like that lah. 600 watt hour and 600 watt hour. That's why sometimes the power is not enough and your appliances suddenly stop, suddenly turn off. You think, oh, there's some mistake here, maybe the cable is broken, anything. No, actually it's not. It's about the design itself, the wrong design during the process. Okay, that's why very important, right? Then after you get that things, so once you get the 745 watt hour, so then next step is to determine the system voltage. Okay, the system voltage is the nominal voltage at which the battery charge regulator and solar array operate. So basically, this system voltage will be 12 volt, 24 volt, or 48 volt. Basically, it's come from the 12 volt lead acid battery, a standard 12 volt battery. Okay, it comes from the 12 volt battery. So the system voltage may be 12 volt here, 12 volt, 24 volt, or 48 volt. Okay, and how to separate it, how to segregate, how we know that this system is 24. It totally depends on the value that we just calculated just now, that it required daily energy, which is just now we get 745 hour. Okay, watt hour. Okay, 745 watt hour means that our system is less than 1 kilowatt hour. So for us, our system voltage is 12 volts. But if you get more than that, between 1 to 4, so your system should be 24, and more, if more than 4 kilowatt hours, then your system must use system voltage of 48 volt. 48 volt, you see, means that 4 12 volt batteries are connected in series or parallel? Series. Okay, series, right?